Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. In today's episode we're going to be making a pizza from scratch. And yes, a lot of people may think that making a pizza is difficult, but it's actually pretty darn simple and only requires a few ingredients. So without any further ado, let's start cooking. First of all, what you're going to need is a bowl, like this one right here. And in that bowl you're going to add some water, some yeast, and then some sugar. So what you're going to need exactly is 2.5 cups of water. Once you've added the water, what you can do is you can take some measuring spoons and we're going to measure 1 teaspoon of sugar. And I have some sugar right here. I'm going to be using some cane sugar, but you could use any other kind of sugar, that's good too. But I like the cane just because it's a little bit more healthy. Okay, once we've measured the teaspoon, we can add it to the bowl. Here we go. And then we're going to take some dry yeast and you're going to add 2 teaspoons of dry yeast. Once the initial ingredients are in the bowl, simply take a spoon and start mixing the ingredients. It doesn't have to be too mixed, just enough to get the ingredients to blend a little bit. After slightly blending the ingredients, the next step is to add 7 cups of flour, then use a measuring spoon in order to add 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Once the salt is added, the final ingredient to add to this initial pizza dough is 6 tablespoons of olive oil. So I like to use extra virgin olive oil right here, but you could use some other kind of olive oil. This is the brand that I use and I think it works great. Now that all the ingredients are in the bowl, you can start blending everything once again with a spoon. This process is very short, and when you notice that the ingredients start sticking to the spoon, I recommend taking the mix out of the bowl and using your hands to do the final mix of the ingredients. The actual mixing of the pizza dough does take about 10 minutes, but it's important to keep kneading the dough for a good amount of time so that you can really blend it and create that chemistry within the pizza base. Whenever you feel that the dough starts getting a bit sticky, don't be shy about adding a bit of flour to the mix. This is not an exact science, but your dough should feel fluffy and end up not being sticky on the kitchen counter in your hands. Once you've finished mixing the dough, take your bowl again and put the dough in the bowl, and then we're gonna take some olive oil and we're gonna put a little bit of olive oil over that dough. Do take note that when you put the extra olive oil in the bowl, I do recommend giving a quick mix with your hands just to be sure that the olive oil covers all the dough. Finally, cover the pizza dough with some plastic wrap and put it in the fridge for at least 2 hours, but ideally 24 hours so that the yeast mix can do its chemical magic with the dough. After 2 hours or 24 hours, the dough is ready to be taken out of the fridge. So take away the plastic wrap and you're going to probably notice that the dough is kind of filled with olive oil, which is a good sign. So now for this next step, what we're going to do is we're going to take the bowl and put it in the sink, and we're going to spread once again a bit of flour on the countertop, and we're going to mix the dough once more. Once the dough has been mixed, we find ourselves with enough dough for 4 pizzas. What I like to do is to split that dough into 4 even parts with a knife and then take some plastic wrap and wrap the extra pieces of dough in that wrap and put them in the freezer. This way the dough will remain fresh for a very long time and can be revived for use next time I want to make a homemade pizza. So now you're basically left with enough dough to make 1 pizza, and the next step is to take your trustworthy pizza stone, and in order not to dirty the pizza stone too much because it is a little bit difficult to actually clean it, I like to use parchment paper, and I like to cut it to the size of the pizza stone. And before we actually put the dough on the pizza stone, what we need to add is a bit of flour and some semolina. Now you're not obliged to add semolina if you don't have any on hand, as the flour is good enough to keep the pizza separate from the parchment paper, but the semolina really does give the pizza a better taste, so I think it's worth it. Making the shape of the pizza is actually a bit of the trickier part. This is why I like having the pizza stone under the parchment paper, because at least it guides me on how much I need to flatten the dough in order for it to have a proper circular shape, but also in order to make the best use of the real estate that I have on the pizza stone. Once the pizza has the right shape, slide the parchment paper off of the pizza stone and place it in the oven. Once the stone is in the oven, preheat it to 500 degrees Fahrenheit. While waiting for the stone and oven to heat up, this is the perfect time to add some ingredients on top of the pizza dough. For today's recipe, we're going to be making a classic margherita pizza. The ingredients required for that are whole tomatoes in a can, mozzarella cheese, ricotta cheese, and some fresh basil. Since we're using whole tomatoes, they will need to be blended first. Once they are blended, take a spoon and spread the blended tomatoes on top of the pizza and cover most of the dough with it. Once that is done, take the mozzarella cheese, cut it in slices with a knife, and spread it on top of the pizza by tearing small pieces by hand. There's no exact amount of mozzarella cheese that should be on top of the pizza, but I recommend trying to spread it evenly on the surface of the pizza. Once the oven reaches 500 degrees Fahrenheit, place the pizza on top of the pizza stone in the oven and let it cook for 6 to 9 minutes. Do keep a timer on hand as the oven is at high temperature, and therefore the pizza can burn very easily if left too long in the oven. Now that the pizza is cooked, you can add some ricotta cheese, which will be applied on top of the pizza in a similar fashion as the mozzarella cheese. Once again, it's up to the cook to decide how much cheese they want on their pizza. And as the final ingredient, I like to take some fresh basil and to put a couple of torn leaves on top of the pizza, spreading it evenly throughout the surface of the pizza. Wow, didn't this pizza come out beautifully? Didn't I tell you guys that making a pizza is super simple? The only secrets I can tell you is to have fresh ingredients. Also, having a pizza stone is really helpful. And also, heating that oven to 500 degrees Fahrenheit is pretty important because wood ovens in restaurants go at even higher temperatures. So within the realm of just staying within a conventional oven in your house, well, 500 degrees is pretty much the sweet spot that I found for cooking pizzas at home. And yeah, I'm super duper happy with how it came out. And yeah, if you like this recipe, please be sure to subscribe, hit the like button, leave me a comment too. Let me know how your recipe came out. I'm kind of curious to know how your pizza making came out and if it came out as beautiful as mine. And maybe you found some other tips and tricks. And of course, you can put other ingredients on top. This is the way that I like to make my pizza. And yeah, with that being said, have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.